Hello and welcome to my next video and possibly the last video of the course, Microeconomics. Maybe not, we'll see. So this is a very, very brief video about inequality. This is a very much debated topic nowadays, and some students are very passionate about this, as probably should be. But the approach I want to use here is not looking at it from a normative sense in terms of making value judgments, but just how economists actually calculate economic inequality. And so by economic inequality, we're mainly talking about inequality in incomes received, inequality in wealth uh, uh, held onto, if you will. I can come out with a better term there, the assets that you own. So let's look at income inequality. Well, one way that economists measure income inequality is something called the Lorenz curve. And graphically, what it is looking at is the percentage of, for example, the first 20% of the income earners in terms of when you go from zero to up to billions in terms of their income, let's say per year. Then the lowest 20%, what percentage of that overall income do they earn? And if it was perfect equality in terms of income distribution, the lowest 20% would earn 20% of the income. The lowest 40% would earn 40% of the income, and so on and so forth. So perfect equality would be denoted by this straight line out of the origin and having a slope of 1. Now, uh, this Lorenz curve B, if you will, this says that the lowest 20% of income earners only earn maybe about 4% of the income. So the farther out to the right, the curve, the more unequal the distribution of income is. Now we can take that concept also and come up with a calculation called a Gini coefficient. And the Gini coefficient is just the size of the gaps here. So it's the area between the Lorenz particular Lorenz curve like A and that perfect equality line. And so if you had, again, perfect equality, then the value of that Gini coefficient would be 0 because we would be on the curve. So the larger the Gini coefficient, the greater is the income inequality. Now, again, remember our discussion today is just how do we measure it, okay? Not putting any value judgments on it. Now, there's also attempts to measure wealth inequality, the ownership of assets, if you will, things of value that we own. And so the Fed has a distributional financial account that they keep. And so this is just the data over time, and this is up until about 2019. So the top 1%, notice, they earned a significant portion, or not earned, they have a significant portion of the wealth. And then here's the poor bottom, 50%. Their wealth is almost nil. So that shows us the degree of inequality in assets owned. Now, certainly an important thing to come up with is how do we measure people that are in poverty, and mainly for the government to provide assistance, right? Well, in 63, a worker for the Social Security Administration published a book called Children of the Poor. And Orshansky's idea was to define poverty based on the cost of a healthy diet. And she had been at the Department of Agriculture before. And so she found that the average family spent about a third of their income on food. So she proposed that the poverty line be the amount one requires to buy a nutritionally adequate diet given the size of the family, multiplied by 3, the 1/3 of the diet. So that's how the poverty line is calculated or determined. And then in terms of categories of discrimination causing inequality, we can go in and analyze differences in income and or wealth inequality related to race, sex. So this is all demographics, ethnicity, culture, religion, sexual orientation. And certainly there was a lot of work done on that. But I told you this would be a brief video. I'm just showing how economists actually measure some of these measures of inequality, both in income and in wealth.